you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Hello there, my beautiful cozy babes, and welcome back to the coziest corner of the internet. My name is Kloee Taylor, and today we are just going to be vibing and sitting down and seeing what your guides want to talk to you about. So these are some of my favorite readings to make. I make a lot of them on my channel, but basically it's just us channeling what your guides actually want to talk to you about. Maybe this is like a significant time period in your life right now. Maybe you're going through something. Maybe you're having your greatest joy or your deepest sorrow right now. Ultimately, your guides are coming in through this reading. I'm a firm believer that you cannot perceive that which you are not a vibrational match towards. So the fact that you could even stumble across the video or see it in your browser or in your sub feed or what have you speaks volumes. So if you've never done one of these before, allow me to give you a little bit of an explanation. So we have pile number 1 here with this beautiful piece of sunstone. We have pile number 2 here with this copper orb. Quite heavy, that one. Pile number 3 with this palm heartstone, or it's a heart palm stone, carnelian. It's beautiful. Love carnelian. The girls that get it, get it. And then we also have this last crystal here, which I always forget the name of, but it was in a recent video of mine as well. I'll make sure that I write it in the description box or like put the name of it on the screen or somewhere so y'all will know what it is if you're curious about it. But each of these crystals resemble the different piles. We have more than just the card that is here as well. But basically what you're going to do is once you are set on a specific pile, you're going to go into the description box down below and you are actually going to choose based off of, you can do, maybe you already know which pile you felt called to. Maybe it's a specific crystal. Maybe there's a timestamp that the numbers are angel numbers or are specific to you. Sometimes people like to add up the numbers of the timestamps as well and like condense them down to a specific number to see what number vibed with them. However you do it is completely up to you. The ultimate thing to know is that you can never choose wrong, and it's also okay to choose more than one. Some people, they will choose literally every single one and they'll listen to this entire reading and then they're like, oh, you know what? Pile 1 and 3 were really the vibe for me today. Or I really got a lot out of pile number 2, So it can be done that way. If you felt like you already knew which you were called to, that's also perfectly fine. Just know that you can never choose wrong and go with your gut. Now, I will say if there's a pile that you feel like you're specifically avoiding, that often can indicate that there is actually a message in that pile for you and you're resistant to it. So I would just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn up a little bit of music, give you some time to make a selection, and then go ahead and head to the description box for those timestamps. All right, pile number 1, before we get into your reading, we are going to talk a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack is an online website that you can go to where you can buy tarot decks from independent artists. I love Tarot Stack. Every deck that we use in today's reading is actually a deck that comes from them. And y'all know, if you've been here for a while, that we work with Tarot Stack every single month as often as we can because they're amazing. And I have literally never received received a deck from them that wasn't high quality, that wasn't amazing. Literally, most of the decks that I use, even in my own practice by myself when I'm reading for myself, are decks that come from Tarot Stack. So if you like any of the artwork that you see today or any of the decks, the artwork in any of the tarot decks that you see today, know that you can get those there. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. We love you. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So if you chose the Sunstone crystal, this is going to be your reading. Sunstone is really great for literally bringing like sunshine and happiness into your life. It's also really great for just, I would say, like helping you harness divine masculine energy. It's like a masculine stone. Okay, so first up, now we have more than just these two cards, but first up, we do have the dandelion card for you, and we also have the hydrangea. So what this says to me is your guides brought you to this reading specifically because they want to talk to you about these two things. So the dandelion card, this is about joy, happiness, connecting with your happiness, connecting with your peace, and also connecting with simplicity. Because think about it. If you live somewhere where dandelions are abundant, they are very abundant where I live. They grow really easily, sometimes where you don't want them. They grow really easily and they are everywhere. Like my entire front lawn covered in these little flowers. And they're very resilient. So I do feel like this has to do with like your resiliency, your joy, your happiness, where you're going to find happiness and peace in your life right now, as well as like connecting with simple things, your morning beverage of choice, breakfast, the people in your life, the way that the rain falls or the sun shines, or just connecting with little intricacies, little moments in life to bring you into the present moment. Now, hydrangea, this card is all about adaptability because if you didn't know, hydrangeas, they do come in a variety of colors, but what basically makes this happen is the pH from which they are grown. So the pH of the soil actually can change the color of the flower. So even if they are growing in like a harsher environment, they're not necessarily going to not grow. They're just going to grow, they're just going to grow in a different color. So they're very adaptable, very beautiful as well. If you've never seen a hydrangea, I want to say they are native to Japan, but very, very, very beautiful flowers. And they also talk about metamorphosis as well as being a little more outspoken about what you need and desire in your life right now. So ultimately, I do feel like there is some time ahead where you are going to have to be a little bit more adaptable. And so right now, you're being asked to focus on what you have in the now, the joy, the happiness, the simplicity, because things are actually going to be shifting in the future. And this doesn't mean that like horrible things are going to happen. It's that you are going to be forced to have to adapt a little bit. And so you're being asked to basically create this like firmer, joyful foundation from which you'll be able to adapt to any changes easier. So let's go ahead and take that a little bit deeper. We're going to use this next deck, which I can't remember what this one is called, but of course it'll be linked down below for you. We're just going to get a little bit of astrology into this because y'all already know as an astrologer, I love bringing astrology into the tarot. Always a good time. Astrology and numerology, really. Okay. So we've got Saturn. All right. Gosh, so many of y'all in your Saturn returns or have Saturn in Pisces natally keep showing up in my readings. We'll talk about it in a second. We also got for you the waning gibbous. Okay. Interesting. So I'm going to stop right there and just talk about these two cards. So the Saturn card, you could be in your Saturn return. You could have a Saturn dominant chart. So, or a Saturn ruled chart. In order for you to have a Saturn ruled chart, you would have to be a Capricorn rising. And if you are using, I want to say it's Hellenistic astrology, Hellenistic technique. I think that's right. I want to say it's Aquarius that is also Saturn ruled. If you are not going with like modern, you know, some people believe that it's Uranus as well, if you're going with like a modern prediction. But if you use a Hellenistic technique, it would be Saturn. So Saturn as a planet, it is the planet of honestly helping you build solid foundations, truly. Because what Saturn does is Saturn is the planet of like discipline, of continuously showing up, right? And where in your life this manifests is where you're going to need to pour your attention. So right now, if you are going through your Saturn return, you would be between the ages of 28 and 32, somewhere in that range. You could already be beyond your Saturn return as well. It could have already like recently happened. The transit lasts for about 3 years. You also could be closer to the age 60. Around age 60, it happens again. Roughly every 30 years, you go through a Saturn return. It's hard to say without having each of your charts in front of me, but it's an easy lookup. If you just plug your information into an astrology website, you should be able to find it for free. But the Saturn return is a time period where basically all of your life choices, you are made to face them all at the same time. And it's a difficult transit, but it is one that asks you not to bury your head in the sand and to actually put your energy and time in. Burying your head in the sand will actually hurt more than it will help. So right now, Saturn is moving through the sign of Pisces. This is actually a difficult transition, in my opinion, whether you're going through a return or not, because some of y'all that are here are not in that right now. And I want to make space for you too. So regardless of if you have this natally or not, Saturn in Pisces is kind of difficult for everyone in the sense that Pisces does not like to be restricted. Pisces does not like to be grounded, restricted, and made to follow the rules. It's not that they're rule breakers, it's that they don't even exist on the same dimension where the rules are. So to them, it's like, what do you mean I need discipline? I am just out here being an ethereal cosmic being. And Pisces is a very spiritual sign. We know that as well. And it's almost like you need to ground yourself in a consistent spiritual practice. That will garner you much better results, and it will help you to build a firmer foundation. This doesn't mean that you have to be religious. This could be that you just find a group of spiritual people that you want to be around. This could be getting into spirituality in a new way, showing up for yourself for a yoga practice, a meditation practice. I'm a firm believer that even like exercise can be spiritual if you allow it to be. Just something that you are consistently putting into your life. Spirit is bringing you to this message today to tell you that you need to put consistency in your life right now. And I'm just going to tell you right now, shameless self-plug, my course, I have a course right now that is $167 off, literally. It is $55 right now. Normally it's $222. It's still on sale. You use Eclipse 2024. I'll put it in the description box. The code Eclipse 2024 will give you that discount. And if you feel like you're struggling to basically like audit and ground your life right now, that is the course that's going to help you do it. I support you through that for like 4 weeks. It's a 4-week course. And I discounted it because I felt right now with this heavy transit that a lot of people were going to need this kind of help. So I would encourage you to pick that up for yourself if you are in the space and need something right now. Like I said, shameless self-plug here, but it's not about making sales for me. It's about you feeling grounded in your reality, grounded in yourself, and being able to make the changes in your life and feel good about that. Especially for any of y'all that feel like it's hard to find that support, that's a good place to start. But that's neither here nor there. If that's not for you, or maybe you've already purchased it and you're loving it, with the Saturn card, ultimately that's it. It's like you need more discipline and not hurting yourself, loving discipline. The way that you would lovingly discipline yourself. The way that a parent, if they were a good parent, I know a lot of us have had experiences where our parents have not been the best people, but if they were a good parent, if you had had like the father figure in your life that you wish you had had, how would that parent lovingly discipline you to help you? You know, would they put you to bed early? Would they get you on a workout regimen? Would they get you on a spiritual practice? Would they hold your hand as you do hard things? That's what I mean. Okay, waning gibbous. Now, this is interesting to me because the waning gibbous, basically when the moon wanes, it waxes and it wanes. And when it wanes, it's coming from a full moon and building back down to the new moon. So when we have a waning gibbous, this is like right after a full moon, having that like release of intensity where the intensity isn't so intense anymore. So Spirit is telling you that if things feel intense right now, this is actually going to be dissipating. And maybe even with this full moon, things got like real crazy. We just had a full moon. The week that this is going out, the full moon happened this week. It was in Scorpio. I believe it happened on Monday, the 23rd. Of course, this reading is always meant to be timeless, but if you're watching it upon its release, we literally just went through the full moon and now the moon is waning back down to a new moon, which we will have in Taurus in a couple of weeks. By the time you see this, the new moon will probably be like a little more than a week away. But with the waning gibbous, that's ultimately it. It's releasing that intensity, allowing yourself to let go, allowing yourself to just kind of unwind from that big moment of tension, right? And let's go ahead and keep going. Now we're going to use another deck. Basically just your standard Rider-Waite-Smith. I forget what this one's called too. I feel like I should have kept the boxes out near me so I could, well, regardless, the decks will always be in order that you see them. They'll be in order in the description box. So never you mind. All right, I'm going to give these a pretty good shuffle. Because we need to figure out what kind of discipline. What kind of discipline, Spirit, does pile number 1 need? What kind? You're talking about this loving discipline, letting go of intensity. You can see that there's times that are going to be changing for them ahead. So what kind of discipline would actually help them? What kind of discipline would actually help them? Spirit, can you tell us what kind of discipline would actually help? What kind of discipline? All right. 3 of Wands. Okay, so 3 of Wands, you need to allow yourself a disciplined practice of expansion. So like the 3 of Wands, this is also a creativity card. So allowing yourself, ooh, you know what this is, especially because you got the Saturn card. I know what this is. The 3 of Wands is normally about like expansion, okay? Expanding your mind, expanding your consciousness. What this is to me is with Saturn in Pisces right now, which we will be in for another like 2-ish years. The coping mechanisms that used to work for you do not work anymore. And that can be really hard, right? We need coping mechanisms. They're not always unhealthy. Coping mechanisms actually help us. Everybody has them. There is not one person on the face of this planet that doesn't use a coping tool, whether it's meditation, prayer, drugs, alcohol, TV, social media, reading, exercise. You know, some of those things that I listed just now are not so great and we can get carried away into them dangerously. So, but like anything can be dangerous, right? If we work out too much, we can hurt ourselves. If we eat too many carrots, it can become a bad thing. But the thing is, no matter what your cope has been, whether it has been a healthy thing for you or not, the copium is not coping anymore. And Spirit is saying where you need to become more disciplined is actually exploring new coping mechanisms. And if you need some ideas, Queen, you came to the right place. And I say Queen in a non-gendered way. I call everybody Queen. I call my husband Queen. I'm not trying to be offensive. But basically, if you need some good ideas, I feel like I could talk about this forever. But some of my favorites, Legos. I love Legos. They are one of my greatest coping tools. I feel like you can't really think about too much when you are sitting and building. And they have some really cool sets. I recently got a bouquet of roses set from my husband that I am loving. Very cool set. They have a Hocus Pocus set now. They just came out with a Snow White set that looks really cool. They have a Little Mermaid. They have Mario sets. Anyways, I love Legos. They are super fun. Granted, it is kind of a costly hobby, so I respect that that's not in everybody's budget. But I would also say, even like trying out painting, trying out something local in your community. My local community offers pottery. It's not something I do, but I think it's something I could do. Recently, I've gotten into water aerobics, and that's been really good for me as like a new coping tool. Even exposing yourself to new media can be a good thing. Getting out of your comfort zone and trying to watch something you wouldn't typically watch. Like instead of choosing the drama, try choosing the documentary. See what you can find out, you know? Instead of reaching for a book that you typically would, or maybe you never read and you need to explore reading again. It's okay when the cope stops coping and you have to find new mechanisms of coping. You know, times are difficult right now, and it's okay if you need to cope with the difficult energy. It's okay to rely on those things when you need them. Okay, and then we also have the Eight of Pentacles. So this is also about doing something to mastery. Okay, pile number one, you are definitely being told to create. So whatever makes you feel creative, that's what you need to be advancing into. Because the Eight of Pentacles is about doing something again and again and again and again until it is like mastered. So you are being told, especially with a Three of Wands and then an Eight of Pentacles, you are meant to be disciplining yourself creatively. Now, be careful. I will be the first person to tell you this because I have been in the creative digital field since 2010. You can burn out on this, and you need to be careful with that. Make sure that you know why you're doing something, because if you just decide you're going to start posting to TikTok and Instagram 10 times a week and you're making all this content, but you lose yourself in it and you lose your why and your rationality, and you start to become obsessed with the likes and the people that are following and pleasing them, it can become very toxic, and then you lose your cope again. So just know that if this is you, this might be very specific for like a subset of you, but know that if this is you, you have to have a strong why as to why you're getting into it first, especially something like that. But if you're just trying to do some art to get a release, I feel that. And let yourself try to get good at it. What would it be like to try to get good at pottery or watercoloring or wood whittling or Lego building or sandcastle sculpting or glass blowing or ice, what do they call that? Ice sculpting, I guess. Ice sculpting or acrylic painting, acrylic pouring, knitting, cross stitching, video games. Video games are a great cope. You know, what would it feel like to actually be good? Maybe you've picked up a video game and you were like, oh, I'm so bad at this. And then you decide you're never going to pick it up again. What would it feel like to get good at that thing, right? Maybe it's going to lead you to something more expansive. Then we have the King of Wands. Oh my gosh. Okay, so going from a Three of Wands to a King of Wands, this is impressive, because King of Wands, this is somebody who is creative, is passionate, is full of vitality, shares their gifts in a way that actually matters. So you might even be somebody that is like a creative type. You want to make a living off of your creativity. You maybe already do. You might already be an artist as like by trade, but I feel like there's something new that's trying to come out that you need to let it. There's something new that you are meant to start creating, and your guides want you to start working on it because it's going to take you into this like next phase of your life that you 2 years from now, a year from now, you're going to be like, dang, I never saw that coming. Okay. And then we also have the Six of Cups. So this is also a call to ask yourself what you enjoyed as a kid. And I know this is so common. Everybody's always talking about it. But seriously, ask yourself, what did you like to do as a child? What brought you joy? And don't make fun of the answers. Like when I was a kid, I said this in a reading previously, and y'all thought this shit was so funny. I was like a gutter goblin. Okay. I liked to play in the gutter when I was a kid. I also liked to sing in nature, just with the trees and the animals and the plants, and I would sing to them. I also loved writing and reading. I used to write fan fiction for Days of Our Lives. No, I will not tell you where you can find it. You will literally never know. I will never tell you where to go. I did though. I used to write fan fiction for Days of Our Lives, which if you didn't know is a daytime television soap opera. Yeah, I used to write fan fiction, like a lot of fan fiction. I think there's only one publicly available and like good luck finding it. But I had like over 20 completed fan fictions in my day. That was something I just did a lot. And as an adult, I've lost a lot of those things and I've had to return to them. And in my own way, I don't play in the gutter, obviously, but I play in the ocean. I play in the ocean. I talk to the ocean. I find bodies of water and try to sink myself into them, right? That would be a way of not being a gutter goblin, but deciding to play in water in a different way. I have actually gotten back into reading. If you follow me on Instagram, I actually recently posted a reel decorating my slutty little Kindle because I love smut fiction. It's like my favorite. And if you are into that, you should be following me on Instagram because I'm always talking about it, rating my book choices and everything. So, you know, there are ways to get back into it. It doesn't mean you have to do the exact same thing that you were doing when you were little. There is a way to bring it into your adult life. So seriously, like leave some comments down below about what you love to do, because maybe as a community, we can help you discover what that could look like as your adult self. All right. We also have the Queen of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. So you definitely are meant to make some kind of money, from your creative efforts. You might want to be a sculptor, a painter, an author. Maybe you want to speak. There's something about like your form of creativity. It is meant to actually help bring abundance into your life and help you connect with your feminine nature. And then we also have the Two of Pentacles, which I feel like as soon as I said it, I felt it. That's funny that I felt called to draw another, because the Two of Pentacles, this is also all about balance, balancing that feminine, that masculine energy, both of them. You know, I always say, and I feel like I don't hear enough people talking about this, especially in the spiritual community, that you can't really just do one without the other. You need both. Meaning there is this huge pushback right now in like pop culture, I feel like, as well as like, I just see it everywhere. Maybe my algorithm is just algorithming, but there is this huge uproar about like getting back into feminine simpleness, like making your own sourdough and wearing dresses in the front yard and like this like feminine soft era, right? Beautiful. I have no qualms with this. I think this is great. If that's what makes you feel feminine. However, for some of y'all, you feel more feminine when you feel strong. You feel more feminine when you take good care of your body, when you eat a certain kind of food, when you make a certain kind of art. Because you do it, if you are somebody that embodies feminine energy, because you do it, it already is feminine. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there is also this like tendency, I feel, to be soft, be still, be in your feminine, because a lot of us are tired of overworking, truthfully. It feels very masculine dominant. It feels very patriarchal. And I'm not trying to get up on like some political high horse right now. But in fact, that's like the last thing I want to do with my channel, with my work. It's not for me. It's not for me to give you those kinds of opinions. That's not why I'm here. Doesn't mean I don't have those opinions, but it's not why I'm here. My point ultimately, though, that I'm trying to get to is that you are not without the masculine. You have that energy too. And yes, there is something called the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine. But in order to bring both into balance, we have to figure out how to get out of the wounding of both of them. And for some of y'all, it is going to look like getting into that soft feminine. And for some of you, it's going to be about getting into that masculine. And there's no wrong way to do it. There's no, you know, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of a push on social media for only the soft feminine. And there's also feminine rage. There's also the, masculine. I feel like when we talk about masculinity, a lot of it does come across as like discipline. Saturn is more on the masculine side of things. And so I do feel like you are being asked to create this very delicate balance where you have soft femininity in your life, but you also have loving, supportive discipline. Because I'll be the first person to tell you, when you feel like you have been super, super like masculine for a very long time and you've leaned into only the wounded masculine, you try to counter that with soft femininity. And sometimes you'll get stuck there. This has absolutely happened to me. And then I got so soft, so feminine, I started to stress because my masculine energy wasn't being supported as well. And it was almost like I was too loose. There was no formality. There was nothing I would say yes to. I wouldn't make any commitments or any promises. And that led to feeling very empty. And it's okay to have both if you're supposed to have both. And this is such a bigger conversation than we have time for right now. But ultimately, you're being asked to balance both. You're being asked to give yourself that loving discipline, but to also find room for softness. Not everything has to happen today. It's okay to take your time. Flowers do not bloom in a day, right? They bloom over time. It's okay to take your time. And then we still have a couple more cards that I want to read off before I send you off. Dream. Build castles in the sky. Oh, come on. There we go. Build castles in the sky. So this is about getting in touch with your dreams, getting in touch with that childlike wonder, getting in touch with what you used to dream about. Where are those dreams that you've now buried? You need to pull them back out. Heart, emotions, and intuition. Oh my goodness. You know what else I'm hearing for you, pile number 1? I'm hearing for you that you might actually have, and I experienced this recently, so I really understand. You might have like a backlog of emotion that needs to be felt. Because if there's one thing that we know is true, it is that pain demands to be felt, period. And it doesn't make you bad or wrong if you've been suppressing that. You maybe have been suppressing it because you feel like you need to go on. You need to be strong, right? That's something that we hear a lot, but it's actually very, 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 very strong to allow yourself the space to feel. And sometimes when that pain, when you keep stuffing it down and not allowing it to rise to the surface and come out, whether it's in crying, writing, screaming, however it presents itself, if you don't let yourself express that, you keep stuffing it down, eventually it's going to erupt. And it's not going to feel good. And then instead of having that one afternoon where you felt kind of off and needed to cry for a while, you're going to end up, several weeks needing to cry for a while. And Spirit is ultimately saying, use your emotion, use your intuition. These things are not separate from you. You're not somebody that just doesn't deal with those things. You're not somebody that just gets to avoid this. That actually doesn't exist. And that comes from a wounded masculine place when you say that. It doesn't exist. You might be somebody that nobody has shown you how. I think that's actually the bulk of us in society today. Most people did not show us how to do this, and we're having to learn for ourselves. But you still have the ability to learn how, to process, to feel, to let it out. Because you're building something really important. Especially with all of this creativity, I honestly see success for you, especially with the King of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. This is like material success. I don't think I've said that, but this is material success that you are working to build. And if you don't let yourself have this along the way, you're going to get to the top of the mountain and feel like, what was it all for? You're going to feel so much better along the journey getting there if you let yourself go at your own pace, feeling your way through it, using your intuition to guide you. And something else that you need to hear, pile number 1, your guides are also saying that you need to rely on your higher self a little bit more. You might rely on your scared self, your anxious self, your fearful self, but the higher self is always there. And you can always connect to that part of yourself. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always with you. And you need to rely on that part of yourself a little bit more to gauge what the next step is. All right, y'all. That actually, I'm feeling called to pull one more for you. I was going to stop, but nope. Look. Oh my gosh. Literally, what the fudge did I just say? You are divinely guided. I don't even need to say, I don't even need to talk about it. I just did. I'm psychic. What can I say? All right, pile number 1. That is the reading I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Links for everything down below. Don't forget to check out my course that is available right now for only $55. It was originally $222. It's $167 off if you use code ECLIPSE2024. I've decided to extend the sale just through my birthday because it is my birthday season. I am a Taurus sun. So if you want to get that, please do. Also, follow me on Instagram. I'm at Kloee Taylor. I also have at the Cozy Babes Club, which is my alternate account that I use for basically my podcast. But recently I've been like really into physical fitness, and I haven't decided if I'm going to post that to my main Instagram or to the Cozy Babes Club Instagram. I haven't decided. So follow me if you want more, especially if you're into like books and book reviews. I've been really into sharing my journey through a Court of Thorns and Roses in my stories right now. So definitely check that out. And actually, I'm on A Court of Mist and Fury now, but check that out if you want to. And if you've listened to all of this, if you've stayed here and you've listened to me ramble, leave me the little crystal ball emoji down below because you are being so divinely guided, my love. And also just thank you so much for showing up here for yourself as well, because sometimes listening to these things, oh, look, there's a bug in the reading. I don't know if you see that or saw it, but there's just this little... I can't tell if that's a fly or a mosquito. It's something. No, it's not a mosquito. I know what a mosquito looks like. Anyways, the ADHD is ADHD-ing today. In any case, if you've listened this far, please leave me that crystal ball emoji down below and just know that you're being divinely guided. All is well. All is going to be okay. You're just kind of in the middle of it right now. You're in a transitional right now. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile number 2. If you chose the Copper Sphere, this is going to be your reading. Now, before we get into it, I do need to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. Y'all already know that every chance I get to work with them, I always do, because every deck that we use in today's reading, they are all from Tarot Stack, and I got some new ones that I think you're really going to like. Everything will be linked down below, of course. If you don't know what Tarot Stack is an online website where you can get tarot decks that are from independent artists. So they're not like decks that you're going to find anywhere else. And literally every deck is a banger. They're always such good quality. Most of the decks that I use in my personal practice when I read for myself, I use a ton of Tarot Stack decks because they all are very well made. The art is always very pretty. None of the decks are falling apart. Definitely check it out. And in fact, this deck that I have right here that we're going to start with, this one actually has a certificate of authenticity. I just noticed this while I was looking through the book. I literally have this was deck number 1864 of 2000. So that's crazy that this deck was so small and independently published that it's also got an authenticity certificate. So you know how much we love that small batch authenticity. So definitely check Tarot Stack out if you're looking for some new decks. I highly encourage it. Love them so much. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. Their links are going to be down below, of course. So we have the Copper Sphere for you, which looks like this. Is quite heavy. It's legitimate. It's a real copper sphere. I think I actually got this one at a gem fair. Very cool, very heavy. Definitely could clank somebody in the head with it real hard. I don't know why that's where my brain went first. That was an intrusive thought goblin moment. But let's see what we got for you. So we have the balloon flower, and then we also have cattail. So why is the first thing I thought about with this cattail is videos of people eating these. If you've never seen it, don't look for it. It's awful. The seeds expand in your mouth and you shouldn't eat them. And people like choke because there's so much like fluff in their mouth. Like don't look that up. The ADHD is ADHDing today. But balloon flower and cattail. So these cards we're starting with today. Basically, why your guides brought you to this reading is the balloon flower. This is all about getting support, asking for support, not feeling like you should be muscling through what you're going through on your own. I can see that you maybe have been a little tense. You've been feeling a little bit stressed, maybe even financially, because the cattail card is about like reciprocity and financial stuff, but it's like basically like kinks in that. So maybe you just had like an unexpected bill come up. Maybe you just had something unexpected come up for you and you're feeling a little bit stressed. It is okay to ask for support. You don't need to deal with this by yourself. Like, y'all, if I could just, there are some of y'all here that need to hear what I'm about to say, so I'm going to come out with it. We live in hard times, and I don't think that like we have to perpetuate this idea, but to put that into perspective, like I myself have had to have housing help over the last year a couple of times, like in just like making sure that rent is getting paid because it has been hard. The economy is going through some shit right now. And you, like the last thing you need to do is blame yourself for your circumstances. Sometimes things happen that are completely out of your control. You need to forgive yourself and know that whatever is coming, whatever wave you are like pushing away, once you let that crash over and reach out for support, that's when it's going to start to get better. So the balloon flower tells me that you've been trying to muscle through on your own and you're meant to actually look for support, look for guidance. And the cattail card, this is actually like the kink in the plan. This is like something kind of went awry and you're feeling stressed out about that. So your guides brought you here to tell you like, even if getting help, it doesn't mean you have to go book a therapist right now. Some people, frankly, do not have the means to do that. And I respect that. I've been there. I've done that. I've got the t-shirt and the trauma. Okay. But even just reaching out to a friend or a family member and letting them know that you don't feel okay. Telling your spouse that actually you're really going through it. And even if you're both going through it, like you don't need to mask or be strong. It's okay to let people know that you're not doing okay. In fact, it's almost where you start to feel better because you stop lying to yourself and stop lying to other people. You get relief out of that. So let's go ahead and keep reading. We're going to grab this astrology-based deck and see what's coming up. Spirit, what can help this situation besides just asking for help? Or maybe tell us if there's a specific person we need to go to. Oh, okay. We have Uranus. Okay. Just a little chaos as a treat. Let's go ahead and get one more card and then I'll tell you about it. So Uranus, if we're going with modern astrology, Uranus would be the ruler of Aquarius. So it could be an Aquarius that you need to talk to a little bit more, make some time for an Aquarius in your life. And then we have 9. Okay, so number 9 in astrology refers to Sagittarius. So a Sagittarius and Aquarius placements, if these are people you need to reach out to, they will give you perspective, let me tell you, because Aquarius is the humanitarian archetype and Sagittarius is the philosopher. So they will give you perspective 100%. If you feel like these are actual people in your life, it could be sun, moon, rising, Aquarius or Sagittarius. The other thing I want you to know is that Uranus, this is like unpredictable chaos. It's unpredictability. We recently had Uranus and Jupiter come conjunct in the sky, which means that they came together in the sign of Taurus. And when this happened, I know a lot of astrologers were like, this is going to be really good. This is going to be really benefic. But ultimately, I could see how this could have gone a little awry as well. This could have created that financial turmoil, right? This could have created a problem that you were like, oh my gosh, why? But ultimately, I know you're going to hate to hear this, pile number 2. The 9 is coming out because it is meant to give you a different perspective. You are meant to learn something from this experience, whether it is how you're going to continue on from this experience, or maybe there is like a new tool that you're going to get. There's a deeper relationship. There is a reason that this was set in motion. There is a reason that this happened. And even if it's been very stressful and very hard, I promise you that you will make it through this. You will get over this hump. This will be something that will be in the past. This is not forever. It happened to give you a new perspective. Now, let's keep going. We have another deck here. Spirit, can you just tell me what you would have pile number 2 do now? What would you have pile number 2 do, given the circumstances, given the energy? What would you have pile number 2 do? Also, isn't this deck so cool? It has these little like scanner codes on the back that help you bring up the guidebook for it. So there's no guidebook, but you can scan it with your phone. I do wish they had just put it on like one card and not all of the backs of the cards, but some people, I guess if you're not like a reader by trade, it might be something that you would want on every card. But Spirit, give us, what do you want us to do? What can we do about it? King of Wands, that's funny. Pile number 1 also had the King of Wands. So if you were feeling drawn to pile number 1 as well, I would encourage you to maybe go take a look at that one. So King of Wands, you are going to handle this situation with grace at the end of the day, period. That's just who you are. And it is going to bring out some like leadership quality in you, passion, purpose. You know what else I'm hearing? That there also could be like somebody else in your life, be it a spouse, a significant other, a father figure. They don't have to be male or somebody that represents as male. But I do feel like you are also being asked to trust and to let somebody else handle the difficult situation instead of always feeling like you have to do it by yourself. Then we have the Page of Pentacles. So this tells me that like whatever you're financially worried about, you don't need to continuously be worried about this. It's going to be okay. Page of Pentacles says that like a new financial opportunity will present itself. And within that presentation, you're going to seek that opportunity and it's going to change something. Like honestly, if this has been financial for you, I do feel that with the Page of Pentacles, it's almost like it might seem like it was hard right now, but your finances are actually being aligned better. So you're not going to be working as hard in the future. 8 of Wands. Okay, so this is also going to be a time period for you of rapid transformation. And the 8 of Wands is also about opportunity, creativity, things coming into your life at a very quick rate. So you might also receive like word by mail, because there's also like a mailbox here. You might receive like a letter in the mail or something that like is a positive outcome that has to do with your finances. Something good happening, getting the support or the relief that you've been waiting for. And then Knight of Cups. Oh, I love this card. Isn't this so sweet? Literally a knight with a cup with a rose in it. That's so cute. Knight of Cups. This ultimately tells me that you need to expect good things. Expect something positive to come out of this situation because it will. The Knight of Cups is like all about romanticizing your life. I believe the card is also associated with like water signs, obviously, because it is a cup card. But it's also like, normally this card is depicted with like a chalice and a fish popping out of the chalice. And it's like, you know, you don't fucking see that every day. A fish just like in somebody's cup. You don't see that every day, right? It's like this unexpected gift. And I feel like even in this desert landscape, having this rose in this pot, it's an unexpected gift. So ultimately, there isn't really a lot that you need to do it's really more of a waiting game and actually trusting other people to handle it, which I know that I feel like for you, that's probably hard. Ugh, see, you're going to be fine. If you're worried about your finances, you're going to be fine. You can breathe a sigh of relief. The 10 of Pentacles is one of the most like fortuitous, financially grounded cards in the deck. And there is financial like stability on the horizon for you. We also have the 7 of Pentacles, which again, look at how like, I love how there's like a telescope and there's like space, there's like a nebula or some shit in the back. This tells me that, again, you're meant to find the bigger perspective here. You're meant to see the bigger picture here. So there is a lesson being taught to you through this scenario. And I know that that's hard when you're in the thick of it. But ultimately, you're going to look back on this and go, wow, I'm so happy I went through that because now look at where I am. Now look at what I'm capable of. Now look at what's going on. And again, if you've been struggling financially, I really want you to know that like you can breathe a sigh of relief because it's going to be fine. 10 of Pentacles is about like not just a little money, it's like a lot of money, having money to support your family, yourself. And the 7 of Pentacles, it is about a new perspective, but it's also about watering the right things, allowing yourself to put intention and time and energy into the right things so that you are growing from a stable foundation. Okay, let's go ahead and pull a few more cards. We're going to look at this deck, the guidance from the universe, or it's actually called cosmic guidance, but we're going to just get a few cards from this deck as well. So I have glitter on my hand for some reason right now, which like we know how glitter is. I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a fleck on my hand of just like red glitter. I don't know where that's from, but I feel like glitter is one of those things where you have some, it's like never going to go away. But so weird that it's like random red glitter. I wonder if there's a celebration coming up soon for you. This might just be like a reminder that this is your reading to kind of confirm it to you. Like maybe it's your birthday season too. I don't know. Something about like celebration. When I think about glitter, I think about celebration. Okay, let's see. Some extra guidance for pile number 2. We have you are safe. The universe has your back. You're safe. You just need to be told that. You're safe. You're safe here right now where you are. In fact, I would encourage you to take a deep breath right here. Hold it and release. I am safe. You're safe. Okay. And then we also have energy, intense passion, and power. So you maybe have been feeling like a lot of overwhelm, and your guides brought you to this reading to remind you that like sometimes life's overwhelming. Sometimes things feel intense, and that's okay. It is all part of the process. All is well. All is going exactly expected. Everything is happening right on time. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Everything is always working out for you. And it's okay if the energy around that feels a little intense or a little scary. You're going to be okay. And then we have growth, overcoming limitations. Oh my gosh. And I love that there's roots on this card because I've been talking to you a lot about your foundation. We've mentioned it a couple of times. So you're going to be overcoming your limitations so much to a point that something like this will never rattle you again. That's what I'm saying. Like this has happened for a purpose, for a reason. You're never going to get rattled the way that this has rattled you. And it's important that you receive the support that you need and to know that things are improving and they will be better. All right, that is the reading that I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Remember, if you want any of the decks that you've seen here, you can get them all linked down below. I linked them in the order that they appear in the reading as well. I would encourage you to check out Tarot Stack. They're so wonderful. And if you feel like this reading like really hit and you need some extra love and support with building that foundation, I'm just going to mention it because it's still on sale. I have my course that normally is $222. It's $167 off right now, making it $55, the cheapest it will probably ever be. And it's authentically aligned. Great course on my website. I will link it down below for you. You need to use code ECLIPSE2024. It's a 4-week course with videos and workbooks that I personally put together myself. It is a process that I work myself whenever I feel like I am dealing with a lot of overwhelm or upset or anything of the sort. So even if I'm not overwhelmed, but I feel like my life just like needs a reset or an audit, it's something that steers me back in the right direction. Literally, I run myself through my own course. So it is on sale right now. I'm continuing the sale for my birthday, which is this month in Taurus, or it's next month technically, but for Taurus season. So just make sure you use the code. It's linked down below. So is the thing on my website. Check that out. If you would like more from me, please check out my Patreon. I have every month we do an energy reading about the astrology, the tarot. I give you some journal prompts is what we're newly getting into. I also do a card of the month. My vlogs also go to my Patreon. I don't vlog here on my channel. They go to Patreon when I do those. Same with masterclasses. I offer masterclasses through my Patreon. Some of my masterclasses you can purchase outright, but most of them are on my Patreon. So definitely check that out. I also do exclusive pick a cards there that you can't get anywhere else. And we're gearing up to have another one within like the next week. So if you want to see that, as well as new upcoming vlogs that I've been working on, please make sure that you come and join the Patreon. I would love to have you there. And I also have my Instagram at Kloee Taylor. I also have the Cozy Babes Club, which is like my podcast Instagram. I also have a podcast that's linked down below. And if you've sat and listened to this entire thing, because I know a lot of people just like hear their reading and they bounce, please leave me the rose emoji down below. Leave me a little rose emoji. I really want to see that. Just to let me know that you stayed, because I always think that's really sweet. Like, of course, I try to give like my free service here, but also like, I think that's so kind. You do such a kindness, even if you don't go and look at any of the things that I mention, you do me such a kindness just by staying here and listening. So let me know that you stayed by putting that little emoji down below for me. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in, pile number 2. I love you and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, pile number 3. Before we get into your reading, I do need to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Tarot Stack. So Tarot Stack is an online website where you can purchase tarot decks that come from independent artists. And every deck I use in my readings today are all from Tarot Stack. I have never had a bad experience. The decks are always amazing, even in my own private practice where I like read tarot for myself. I use a lot of the decks and I've never had a deck fall apart on me. I've never had, like the cardstock is always really great. The image quality is always superb. And I always feel really good because I know that I'm supporting an independent artist versus like a large conglomerate. So love that. And also this deck, even this one's new. Actually, not every deck, but a couple of the decks that we're using today are new. This one even has a certificate of authenticity. Like, are you kidding? I think that's so great. This one's really cute. I'm excited to share it with you. So yes, if you would like to get some new tarot decks and feel good about where you're getting them from, please do check out Tarot Stack at the link down below in the top of the description box. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for continuing to sponsor and love our channel. All right. So if you chose the Carnelian Heart Palm Stone, this is going to be your reading. So first and foremost, we have, oh my gosh, look at how cute this card is. Oh my goddess. It says harvest, and then you also got sunflower. Oh my gosh. This makes me so happy. Pile number 3, you're a vibe, okay? You're a vibe, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the sunflower card, this is all about healing, letting the light in, knowing that good times are coming and that you are already in the process of recovery. If something has been going awry in your life, if you have been like down and like, if you've been down bad, as the great Taylor Swift has been saying, if you have been down bad crying at the gym, things are actually improving right now. Things are improving and you might not be able to see it just yet, but you actually are on your way to things getting better because the sunflower, first of all, if you didn't know this about sunflowers in general, they always point towards the direction of the sun. Like that is something that sunflowers do. And it's about like, basically you can always find the good in every situation. And this card also specifically talks about if you're coming out of a difficult period, know that you have survived this crisis and you're actually on your way to peace right now. And if you've just needed that confidence in knowing that like healing is happening right now in the present moment, this is confirmation to you. You've been led to this reading so you could hear that. But on top of that, you got the Harvest card. This card in this specific deck, there's only two that aren't flowers. One is Harvest, the other one is Light. The Harvest card, it's like a special card in the deck, and it means that the time for harvesting is now. So this, whenever you're hearing this reading, this is happening right now. This isn't some far off in the future thing. This isn't something you need to wait for. Yes, keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting in the efforts that you're putting in right now. But like the time for harvest is now. The things that you've been wishing and wanting and praying and hoping for, it's now. It's happening right now. You need to allow this to come in because you've been asking for it, praying for it, hoping for it, wanting it. And if it's your peace, if it's your prosperity, if it's feeling more joy, those are all very like sunflower in nature. So let's keep going. Let's see what else. I feel like your reading is really about the present right now. So let's go ahead and see. This is why I love doing readings where we just get messages from your guides, because I feel like everybody gets a different reading. Like some people it is about love or something. Other people it might be about their finances. Your reading is literally about your present right now. Ooh. Okay, you got Mutable. That just popped out of the deck. I'm going to pull one more. This one right here. And Leo. Okay. So you could be a Leo Sun, Moon, Rising, or you could be going through a significant Leo transit in your life right now. You know, maybe you're even watching this during Leo season, which we're not currently in as it's being filmed, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to Leo season down the line if you're listening to it then. But a Leo transit, I mean, if you're a Sagittarius rising, you would be going through a Leo transit because the North Node is in your 5th house of Leo for the next like year. I'm trying to think of like other Leo transits that would be going on. You would have to have a Sagittarius placement for that. At least, I mean, even if you're like a Sag rising, we just came out of Aries season, which would have put you in a Leo transit as well. Regardless of if you are a Leo Sun, Moon, Rising, you're in a specific Leo transit. The other thing to note is that Leo is all about creativity, themselves, their self-expression, their big heart, and like really getting in touch with who they cosmically came here to be. Like the reason people don't like Leos, and I'm going to tell you the truth, because you might be a Leo hater in my comments, and I get it. I used to be like you until Leos had to show me what they're actually about. And now I get it. And I take back any amount of Leo slander that I have ever put on this channel, in my content, or in my life. I love a Leo. I fuck with Leos. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Leos, the reason people don't like them is because they actually show everyone how you are meant to love yourself. And if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of self-love, self-trust, doesn't express yourself bigly and boldly, that can rub you the wrong way. that can be like, oh, who are you to show off? Who are you to be this way? Who are you to have that attitude? When in reality, they mirror to you that which you feel like you are not getting or giving to yourself. And that's true in like most instances in life when we have a lot of like upset towards especially a certain zodiac sign. Don't get me wrong. Some of us just rub each other the wrong way, but that's something that I feel like I intimately had to learn with Leo placements is I would get mad. I mean, I'm also a Taurus and like, we just like the stubborn energy just like knocks, you know, we're both a little stubborn, but that's ultimately it with Leos is they will show you how you are meant to love and adorn and express yourself. And if you are somebody that doesn't let yourself do that, seeing somebody do that so rebelliously, so openly, so unabashedly, it can be offensive, right? Now, mutable coming out here, I know what mutable means because I am an astrologer, but I want to see what the book actually has to say about this card because, okay. Compassion, broad-minded, supportive. Mutable signs are empathic and understanding for those around them in need of help. They are oriented towards finding compromise and solutions. I am fulfilled by causes greater than myself. I was just trying to see if there was any information we could garner out of it. But I guess ultimately, like a mutable sign in astrology, this is going to be your Virgos, your Geminis, Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, Sag. Those are the mutable signs. And I would say like ultimately with mutable energy, it changes, it transforms. It's not where Leo is like a fixed sign. They're literally known as a fixed sign. So is Taurus, Scorpio, and who is Leo's opposite? Aquarius. Those are the fixed signs. A mutable sign, like the ones I mentioned, they like a fixed sign is like set. Okay, that's why they're known for being more stubborn. A mutable sign can change, can transform, is a little bit more in the middle. This is why like Gemini gets known for being two-faced when they're really not. They're mutable. They're able to be shaped versus having a fixed set of rules for themselves. And I feel like ultimately what you're being asked with mutable and Leo, oh, why does this make me want to cry? Pile number 3, what the heck? You're being asked to be open to new scenarios of how things could be better. Maybe in the past, you'd really shut down any forms of healing, any forms of how you could feel better, how you could get better, how you could allow yourself joy or happiness or express that or express yourself. You're being asked to be open to new, interesting, curious, creative ways of letting that come to you naturally. And with Leo here, this is all about your self-expression. So this could be like your wardrobe, your makeup, your nails, your handbags, your car, your house, your bedroom. Most of the time I would say it deals more with like self-adornment, like clothing your body, but it can also be your expression in the elements around you. Ultimately, you're being asked to start expressing yourself in ways that maybe you haven't before. And like a great example, I will tell you, y'all are my people. Pile number 3, this is like, you come to my readings, you're probably somebody that is here more often than not because you resonate with my frequency because we're on the same one. And that happens sometimes with tarot card readers. If you have someone that like is your favorite, often you resonate with them, with their journey, with their story. And I find that to be true across the board. When anybody has a favorite, like it kind of says a lot, which first of all, I'm honored if that's how you feel. But the thing I want to say is even from my own perspective, which a lot of you love my like healing storytelling, I'm going through a Leo transit right now. I'm a Sagittarius rising. And so the North Node is crossing my Aries 5th house. I have Aries in the 5th house of Leo. So I'm going through a Leo transit right now that's really major. And it's like where the eclipses come up, it deals with my self-expression and my creativity. And I do feel like for the first time in my life, y'all, a way that this has presented itself is never in my life, never have I wanted to be strong, like physically. Never have I wanted to be strong. Never have I been like, I want to be cut. Like never, ever, ever. I've like, of course, like going through like toxic diet culture and shit. I've been like, oh, I want to be skinny. That is a whole other thing. And I apologize to anybody that I just triggered with that. That's not the reality that I live in now. That was my teenage self. But for the first time in my life, like, I just want to be strong. I want to be cut. I want to know what it feels like to have a really strong core. I want to know what it feels like to have really strong arms. I want to know what it feels like to carry myself with strong muscles. And that is self-expression at its core, especially having it in an Aries placement. Aries is all about the physical body and then expressing that. And I joined a gym recently. I've lost like 12 pounds. I've been really on my fitness goals right now because I want to know what it feels like to be cut. That's like the only way I know how to say it is I want to know what it feels like to be cut. And this is something that I've never been interested in before. I've been interested in like taking care of my health and wellness, of course, but never have I had like such a tenacity to actually go after a goal like this. So that's one way it could present itself. Other ways, like I said, are like getting a whole new wardrobe, deciding to try a new style on, deciding to change what you create. Maybe you're a creative type and you are somebody that like loves to create, but like the creativity you were doing before just isn't doing it for you anymore. And you got to create in new ways. This has presented itself in my own life as well. If y'all watched my last video that came out a few weeks ago, you'll notice the intro was totally different from anything else that I've done before because my creativity has been like, hey, try different things, try something new. Try something you haven't tried before. So, and many of you loved that intro. I hope I wowed you with today's intro as well. But that's what I'm saying. It's like being mutable enough. Number one, your healing is here. It's happening right now in real time. What you have been struggling with is literally falling away. And the time for harvesting that is now. It's time to make some new choices. Staying the same might feel safe in the moment, but it's not. You will never be in a reality where sameness is something that you will have forever and ever and ever. Year over year, things will change. People change. Places change. Circumstances change. The one consistent in life is change. And so the faster that you can let yourself move into this new way of expressing yourself, whatever it looks like, the better off you're going to be. Now, let's go ahead and take a look and see if we can get more specific. Spirit, can you give us some more specific information right now? In what ways can we embrace this healing energy? And in what ways can we self-express? In what ways can we bring this Leo energy out and do it in a way where it doesn't feel so black and white? Can you give us some extra guidance, please, Spirit? Ooh. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more of these. Oh my gosh, look, and the strength card at the bottom right there. The strength card's Leo's card. Okay, let's see. 7 of Pentacles. So you need to decide what you want to water. Pile number 2 also had this card. But basically, 7 of Pentacles says, water the things that matter to you. If there's something in your life, oh my gosh, I have a great example of this right now in my life. And I hate to say it because some of y'all are going to be disappointed with what I'm about to say, but just, I have to let it be what it is right now. In my own life, the way this is presenting, and I'm sorry for those of you that don't like story readings. I know a lot of you do, and you resonate with storytelling energy, and you're my people. Some of you do not, and I apologize, but this is the reading that pile number 3 needs. So if you don't feel like that resonates with you, I would encourage you to go leave now and pick something else. But because the first 2 readings aren't like this one. This one's different. 7 of Pentacles, the way that this has presented, even in my own life right now, is last year, I was all about my podcast. I wanted my podcast to grow. I wanted to make my podcast more popular. I wanted to get more eyes on it. I wanted to grow that sector of my business. And I really did, but not as much as I wanted to. And I've tried so many times to advance. Like I've tried putting video podcasts out. What I have come to understand is it's just not the place right now. I don't feel creatively called to it at all. I've been on a hiatus since early March with no explanation. And normally I would get really anxious about that. And I'd be like, oh, I need to let everybody know what I'm doing. Like, that's not good. I'm going to like drop the ball here and I'm never going to be able to pick this back up. And all these like limiting beliefs, right? Come to the surface. The thing with the 7 of Pentacles though is putting that lens over what I'm talking about. It's okay if there is something that you have done that you don't resonate with right now, especially a creative project. If there is something that you have been doing and at one point in your life, it felt really good, you were really in the zone about it, you wanted to continue it, you wanted to build this thing, it maybe didn't turn out how you wanted it to, it doesn't mean you need to go back and delete the whole thing and start over. It might just be that you need to ask yourself, what do I actually want to water right now? And if that's not the thing you want to water, don't water it. Let that shrivel up for a while, you know? It doesn't mean you can't go back to it in the future. You can't decide to do something. But ultimately, the Seven of Pentacles is a call to ask yourself to like prune your plant, basically. If there is a bunch of things that you do, routines, daily activities, people that you see, people you talk to, creative endeavors, you need to look at that. Look at your life and prune the leaves that don't serve you and choose to water the things that do. Because right now, that's how the healing is going to happen. Ooh, you got 2 right here. We also have a 9 of Swords. Ugh, gosh, this is irritating. I hate this card for you. I hate it because this is like the worry card. But you know what I want you to notice? With this 9 of Swords, notice how the worry is like this huge upheaval of wind. And there's this tree that's actually rooted down that feels like that wind is coming for it, right? The thing that you need to know is those roots are strong. That tree's going to be fine. That wind is going to calm down eventually. It will be okay. You will weather the storm. Like I said, I feel like you really think that healing isn't happening right now, but you need to know that it is. Your healing is inevitable. It is happening. You are putting the right work in. You might not be seeing the results as quickly as you would like to, but you're doing a great job. You are going to be fine. We also have the Hierophant. I hate to break it to you, bestie. This is one of those cards that I also hate to see. Hate this one for us. But the Hierophant, or Hierophant, however people like to say it, the Hierophant. This card is about like mentorship. It's also about like, to me, it's like mastering something so that you can teach it. It's having mastery over something so that you can teach the ideology that came with it. From having these experiences, from going through what you've gone through, you're actually going to be like the resident expert. It's also the card that's linked to Taurus, which I think is so rude. As a Taurus, I'm just going to say it for all the Tauruses here. I'm sorry that this is our card. I mean, I didn't make that so, but I just feel like, how are we going to do Taurus dirty like this? Especially because this card also talks about like religious structure and spiritual structure, which I just want to be in the astrals, okay? But the Hierophant is about like tradition and mentorship. And you know what? Let's do, these cards have like a scanner on the back. Let's open that. I was looking at Stardew Valley stuff. Okay, the Hierophant. Oh, they're going to make me listen to it? I don't want to listen to it. I mean, okay. Let me...
And beliefs. It is often associated with traditional forms of religion and doctrines. In your reading, this card may be a reminder for you to take the time to learn about fundamental spiritual principles from a trusted source. This could be in the form of a teacher, mentor, or guide who can provide you with a structured approach to understanding spiritual values and beliefs. You may also undertake a period of formal study to delve deeper into a subject that has been widely explored and documented. Alternatively, you may already have a mastery of a particular field of study and may be taking on the role of a teacher or mentor to others. In this position, you will be reminded of the responsibility to share your knowledge in a structured way that respects age-old traditions. The Hierophant card may also indicate a desire to honor family traditions or sacred rituals that have been neglected. It is calling you to commit to spiritual practice in its most traditional form, without customization or adaptation. If you have been lacking ritual and tradition in your life, Consider creating a regular practice such as daily prayer or saying grace before a meal.
Okay. So when I did the scanner on the back of this card, it led me right to the card. That was actually kind of awesome. That is, I kind of, I kind of thought to myself when I first saw this, I was like, that is not cool. Like, that's free advertisement for tarot card readers. And like, what if I have this as like on my thumbnail or something? But no, that was actually so cool. It just like led me directly to the card description, and there was a upright meaning and a reverse meaning, and I played it for you. That was actually so cool. Wow. I'm going to use this deck more. That was so cool. I loved that. Anyways, so you heard it, the Hierophant. I would also say that like what really stuck out to me that I was feeling with your guides present here is that you don't have to pray if you're not a prayer. If you're not a religious person, like that's fine. If you are, maybe consider praying a little bit more. I don't think prayer is inherently religious. I used to, because I was born and raised Mormon. I'm not now. I don't have a religion. But I used to think that prayer was only for like Christians and Catholics. And it really isn't. You don't have to pray to some like white man in the sky. You can pray to the earth. You can pray to yourself. You can pray to your spiritual guides, your spiritual team. It doesn't have to be under the guise of Christianity or Christian-based doctrine. And I'm just saying that for anybody that has felt ostracized by that, what would we call that? That group, I guess. Because I know what that feels like. I have been there, done that, got the t-shirt and the trauma to prove it. But with the Hierophant here, that was what stuck out to me the most, was like honoring your spiritual practice. So this could be a practice of yoga, meditation, a spiritual practice that you've never really gotten into, but you've always been curious about. Maybe you start a tarot practice, maybe you get yourself a deck and you start a tarot practice with yourself. This is saying that like right now, as you're on this healing journey, connecting to something beyond just yourself is actually going to boost that. So like something that I would do if I were you, you feel called to it, is I have an altar in my house. I have a couple actually, where I have candles that I light on specific days of the week for specific things, or for specific, I do work with archangels sometimes. I'll light them for specific archangels, and I will pray to them and ask for help. I work with the deity Aphrodite. I'm like dropping all the tea right now, but that's like in my spiritual practice, I have a very like devout practice. And if you feel like you're somebody that's like, I need to see it to believe it, I would encourage you, whatever you feel like working with, ask them for signs. My biggest thing, and some of y'all are going to laugh at this, but my biggest thing with my own practice is I come up with my own spiritual signs, and I tell my guides like, hey, if I'm on the right track and I'm onto something, or if I need to be reminded that I'm safe, or I need to be reminded that things are progressing, you need to, my sign is Hillary Duff. Like, play me Hillary Duff songs, show me Hillary Duff, put her anywhere. Like if I'm out at a store and I see Lizzie McGuire, that's enough for me. If I'm out at the store and I hear Hillary Duff on the radio, like playing, that's enough for me. My Spotify recently just popped up with a Hillary Duff mix randomly when I wasn't even listening to her. And I was like, oh, there it is. Thank you, Spirit. So you can make your own spiritual signs and then go to your guidance system and say, hey, this is what I want my sign to be. I want pink peacocks. I want rabbits. I want pumpkins. I want, you can even do things that are like otherworldly, right? Like maybe you want some kind of like biblical angel with 1,000 eyes, that to be your sign, Pick something and allow the universe to show it to you. All right, let's keep going. We have 7 of Wands. Now, this is interesting because you got 2 7s here. The 7 of Wands is about standing your ground. Oh, this is powerful, pile 3. You really need this. So, in a world that we live in right now, there is a lot of confusion about what is true and what isn't. And it makes sense, right? We are in the age of information. Everybody can pass knowledge back and forth now without like effortlessly back and forth. And so back in the day, your great great Aunt Marge could just be like, oh yeah, bacon is made from pigtails. And you would just believe her and like go unchecked, because why would Aunt Marge lie to you? Now we live in the age of information where everybody's got a phone at the end of their fingertips and everybody is speaking their truth into the void. And some people have listeners, some people don't. But with the Seven of Wands, this is a call to action that you need to decide what your truth is and stand on it. This doesn't mean that you can't be mutable, because you even got the mutable card. This doesn't mean that you can't be mutable. This doesn't mean that you can't make new choices at some point, that you can't be shifted or changed. But having some things that you stand on is important. And I feel like you have kind of felt like a loose person for a while, and it makes it hard for you to ground your energy when you feel like what is even true, when you are confused and you don't know. So it's time to get to the bottom of your values. Ask yourself what you care about. And I think the quickest way to get to that, bestie, is actually to ask yourself what makes you mad. And I know like people don't want to sit in their anger. I get it. We've had a lot of misuse of power. And so there's a lot of rage towards anger, right? There's a lot of, or fear of anger even. Excuse me. But the thing is, when you ask yourself what makes you mad, it's a clear indication of what you value. So I'll speak for myself to kind of give you an example. When I think about child abuse, I am enraged because I grew up in an abusive household myself. And to this day, there are so many people in my family that won't recognize it that way, that won't call abuse what it is. Even the people who dealt the abuse have a hard time saying it, but I think it's getting better, truthfully. But to them, based on how they grew up and the criteria they grew up in, which was also abusive, they see their hand not as abusive, when in reality it was. So abuse is abuse. We don't need to split hairs over what is more or what is less, or what is in more intense or less intense. My point to bringing this up is like, that's the shit that enrages me. If I see somebody abusing a child, I'm going to lose my mind. The way I will jump on somebody's back to save that child, you have no idea, because that's the shit that enrages me. But bearing that in mind, I think children like deserve the world. I don't have any children myself, but I think children deserve the world. They deserve gentleness. They deserve kindness. They deserve emotionally regulated parents. And if we gave that to children, if people that had children thought harder about that before having children, we would live in a much different world. We would live in a more healed society. People would be kinder and gentler to each other. It would literally be a different world. We wouldn't even be able to fathom where we're at right now. And so that is like a value. That is a hill that I will die on. And it's something that I value very intensely. So that's what I mean when I say, ask yourself what makes you mad, because what makes you mad is a clear indication of what you value. And that's something that I feel like I had to like read a lot of books to get to the bottom of that. That was not something that was like, I don't know, the last 10 years of my life figuring that one out. Would have paid somebody to give me that information faster. But ask yourself what makes you mad. What gets you mad? What gets you feeling like you could be an activist for that thing because it gets you so pissed? You know, there are other things obviously that I care that much about, but that was like the first one that came to mind. So you need to get grounded in what you stand for, because that's going to also help this process. Then we have the Six of Pentacles for you. So Six of Pentacles, I do feel, pile number 3, that you might feel ashamed being compensated for your work, because to you it feels really easy. And your guides brought you to this reading to remind you that it's okay to have compensation. Like, I think one of the best ways this was described to me, I told y'all you were getting the storytelling reading. Like your reading, what are we at? Like 30 minutes? I don't time these readings, but your reading is going to be the longest. I guarantee it, because you're somebody that loves the storytelling. And that's why I feel called to do it. One of the best ways to describe this is like, in my own community, I don't live near where I grew up. And putting roots down has been really hard for me. I won't lie to you about it. It's been really hard for me to like find an in-person community, but I've really been trying for a while now. And I've offered my services for free to so many people. I've been like, hey, I know photography. I know videography. I will come and like local businesses. I'm like, I will come and I will just help you. I don't need anything. And honestly, it's because the thing that I need is community. The thing that I need is friends. The thing that I need is connection and conversation. And to me, I want that so bad that I'm willing to like exchange for it. But the funny thing is, now hear me out. You're going to be like, wait, what? Is when I've said these things, so many people have told me that they can't do it for free. Like that really bothers them. And this has happened with more than one person. And that kind of like made me feel some type of way. And I mentioned it to one of my really close friends that lives somewhere else. And I was like, like, I don't know why people won't just take my help. And she was like, Kloee, if somebody came to you tomorrow and was like, yo, let me rebuild your website. I am like a website graphic designing expert. Let me rebuild your website for you. No cost. I just really love doing this and I just want to do it. How would that make you feel? Would you be able to take that service for free? And I was like, no, I would want to compensate them. I would offer them a reading or something. I would offer them something in exchange. And she was like, do you see? And I was like, you are totally right, bestie. And so now when I offer things to people, I will tell them like, buy me a coffee or, whatever their like line of work is. If it's something I'm interested in, I'll tell them like, pay me in whatever you have, your wares. That has tended to go over a lot better. People are a lot more welcoming when they feel like there is an equal exchange. So that's what I mean with this Six of Pentacles here, is there has to be an equal exchange of energy. And you have to stop being so ashamed for getting your bag, for getting your harvest. If it feels like you shouldn't, or you shouldn't charge for something, or you should give something for free. People don't actually like free. I know, hard concept to consider. People don't actually like free. And don't get me wrong, I think some things should be a given. Some, like healthcare, should be free. Some things should be a given. But for the most part, even in my own experience, a lot of people are really uncomfortable with that. And it makes an unequal exchange. And that's why, because people will then get in their head, well, I'm going to owe you a favor later. And that's unfortunately how a lot of the world has been trained. So it is okay to receive for what you have made. It is okay for you to charge for the things that you do. It is okay to be paid for the services that you would do for free. I don't know who here needs to hear that message, but I hope I drilled it in real nice. Okay, one more of these cards and then we're going to move on to another deck. Okay, then we have the Eight of Cups, which this card is all about letting go and walking away. This is really interesting. I actually feel like I need to draw one more card with this card. So hold up. Spirit, can you tell me what it is specifically that we're actually pulling away from? Because that Eight of Cups, we can't just be that loosey-goosey out here. What is it that we're meant to walk away from? What is it that we're meant to walk away from? What is it that pile number 3 needs to walk away from? Judgment. Okay. I think this is actually quite literal because I do think that you spend a lot of time judging and shaming yourself, either for having feelings, for being upset, for being anxious, for being depressed, for feeling some type of way that doesn't feel normal. I say that with big air quotes because what is normal? And you need to walk away from that, from getting down on yourself, feeling down on yourself. Shame isn't going to get you anywhere. And I would actually encourage, if you're feeling a lot of shame or holding back a lot, try to connect with some other people. Try to talk to a trusted friend. Talk to a trusted confidant, because when you release the shame, you give other people to release shame too. So this is why I always tell y'all, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same, because even when you feel shameful, if that's an authentic expression at the time, When you admit that you are ashamed and feeling shame about something, other people will remind you, A, why you don't need to be ashamed, and B, it will remind them that they don't need to be ashamed either. So walking away from casting judgment on yourself and on other people right now. This is something else that you need to be doing, is just walking away from that. When you hear that inner critic in your head coming up to judge you, just walk away. Imagine putting those thoughts into, like, truly try this. Imagine a stream and leaves are floating down that stream, and put those thoughts into those leaves, into a leaf, and then watch it as slowly or as quickly as you need to. Watch that go down the stream and away from you. Because if you're critical of others outwardly, you must be very, very, very critical of yourself. And Spirit is saying this is the energy that needs to be dissipated. You got to walk away from the judgment. And also feeling like judgment is always coming. I think that's another thing that some of y'all need to hear. Some of y'all feel like judgment is always coming. Like you're always going to be judged no matter what you do. Like even if it comes down to like what you wear, how you put your clothes on, how you lay in bed at night and try to go to sleep. Maybe you fear judgment from your partner, or judgment from family or friends about what you do. I'm honestly feeling that there might be a lot of like almost social anxiety. Please remember, I'm not a therapist, but like that to me is the energy of like social anxiety. And the way that you judge others, that might be why you have such like a high inner critic, that you're ready to be judged for every little thing that you do. And Spirit is saying that it's time for you to step away from that. It's time for you to let that go. And it's going to happen little by little and then all at once. Okay, moving on to our last deck that we're going to use. This is the Cosmic Guidance. Y'all already know how much I love this deck. I just want to get some final words of wisdom for you. Dang, y'all, you got like a 40-minute reading. I don't know that we've had a reading this long in a really long time, but I had a lot to say to you. All right, let's see. Speak up. Use your voice to express yourself. So again, don't be suffering by yourself. Talk to the people around you. Your healing is happening, and the more that you let it out, the more the light is going to come in. Promise. Also, sometimes the people that you talk to will have like good ideas on how you can overcome. Head, logic, and evaluation. So it's funny too. I feel like you've been really in your head, and that's why like the 9 of Swords popped out for you. You've been really in your head, which is not a bad thing. You know, we need our minds. Our minds help us. But I do feel like there's been like a need for like more focused energy, less scatterbrained. And I feel like that's something that's actually healing. Like this is the part of your body that is receiving healing, like mental healing. Oh, and then we have the star. I love the star. I love the star in traditional tarot. This is a oracle star, but the star is my favorite card in the deck. Blessings, inspiration, and a time to shine. Claim this energy. Claim this energy right now, pile number 3. Put a star emoji in the comments if you picked this reading, because literally things are about to get so much better than you ever could have imagined. You're about to feel so much more peace than probably you've ever felt before. And the inspiration is coming. You're going to feel inspired to do new things. You're going to be receiving blessings that you never saw coming. And the spotlight's going to be on you, but you're not going to be afraid to hold it. This is a gift. This card is a gift. The star is the gift from the universe. It's what you've wished for, what you've asked for, what you've been waiting for. It's your time to shine. I love that. All right, that is the reading I have for you, pile number 3. Thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring our video. Please make sure you check them out down below. And y'all, if you have been going through it, okay? If you have been going through it, please, if you have not done yourself the favor, my course, Authentically Aligned, currently $167 off, $55. Okay. It used to be $222. Use the code Eclipse 2024 to get that discount at checkout. And it's a 4-week videos, lots of workbooks. It guides you through auditing your life, getting clear on where you're headed next. I literally guide myself through this exact process when I am trying to regroup my life. And I recently put myself back through my own course and was like, damn, this is good shit. I impress myself. So that's honestly why I started to discount it, is I was like, I feel like more people need access to this tool. So check that out. It's still on discount now for my birthday month, actually, because I am a Taurus sun. My birthday is coming up soon. I've decided to leave the discount live for my birthday season. So please do check that out. The link and the coupon code, of course, will be down below for you. And if you would like more from me, more pick-a cards, more master classes, vlogs, which I haven't gotten back into it yet, but I've recently been on my like fitness grind. And so I've been wanting to get back into vlogging and like talking about it. And I vlog on my Patreon. So if you want more content like that, more like personal content, as well as extra pick-a cards, astrology reports, things like that, please check out my Patreon. It's available to you. And my Instagram, I'm at Kloee Taylor, as well as I have at the Cozy Babes Club, which is like my podcast Instagram. I don't really know what I'm doing with that right now, but we'll figure it out eventually. And yeah, please follow me around the web. I love you so much. Thank you so much for letting me read this for you. You have no idea how much like joy this reading brought me. Your reading is the reason I do what I do. This reading right here, out of the 3 that I've done so far, yours is the reason I do what I do. This reading felt personal. And I felt like I was like sitting with you across the table, like telling you the tea, telling you what was up. So thank you so much for letting me read this. I love you. I appreciate you. If you stuck around and listened to this whole thing and you didn't do it already, please put the star emoji in the comment section. I need to know who my people are. You could even do like a star and a little pumpkin, and I will like really know, because that's how I'll know you stayed till the end, if you use a little star and a pumpkin. Because you're lovely and you're wonderful, and I love your energy, and you're the reason I do what I do. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile number 4. If you chose this crystal, this is going to be your reading. Before we get into it, I do need to just say a special thank you and tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Tarot Stack. So if y'all have been here for a while, y'all know that Tarot Stack is somebody we work with on a monthly basis. We continuously work together, and that is because we have like a long-standing relationship, and it's not necessarily a contract, but like we have that. And that's why we work with them every single month, because they're great. And what is it, you say, or you ask? Tarot Stack is an online website dedicated to getting independent artist tarot decks out to you. So I love them. Every deck we use in today's reading is going to come from there. Literally, I've never been disappointed. Even before I had the relationship that I have with them now, I purchased decks from them before that, like with my own money, and have loved every deck that I have ever been given or purchased on my own. And even when we don't do sponsored videos, like those decks are still being used in my readings all the time, because their decks are so good, and they're always rare. Like I find that there's a lot of rare finds, like this deck right here that we're starting with today. It's called A Little Rain. And literally, this is such a small deck and small creator that it has a certificate of authenticity. Like, that's amazing. And I've loved this deck. It's newly bonded with me. And anyways, every deck that we use today will be linked down below in the order that they appear. I hope you'll give them a check out. At the top of the description, their link will be there. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. I love you so much. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is the crystal that you chose. We're just going to set that up here with our other crystals, and let's see what we're starting with. Oh, I actually want to say, before I even show you these first 2 cards, every reading today has been so different, but your reading, I did get a little bit of a glimpse into who you are, like the person that I was going to be reading for pile number 4, or like the group. And this is going to help you to understand if this is the reading for you, because I'm going to read you. So, first and foremost, you're an artist. You're somebody that is creative. You might even be creative as like a trade. Maybe you are a digital artist or digital creator. You could also be like a painter, pottery, woodworking, any kind of like art. You are an artist. And yes, we could argue that everybody is an artist in their own way, but like you are an artist by trade. You have an eye for aesthetic that you have no idea where it came from. It could have been trained in by like taking art classes and stuff, but I feel like you just have an affinity for how things look. Like you have a natural, keen awareness for beauty, and you appreciate beauty and aesthetics, and it's what makes you such a great artist. You also, I feel like recently maybe something has ended, like a contract in your work or something to that accord, and you feel like you have lost a little bit of the magic in your art. So that being said, let's get into your reading. So first and foremost, we got the Asphodel, and we also got the Bleeding Heart. So the Asphodel, this is actually a card, this one right here. This one is about burnout and perfectionism and having to go through a little bit of burnout recovery so that you can actually feel better. And the Bleeding Heart, this is also like dealing with that sorrow, with that grief. So possibly with like whatever has ended in your life right now. Like I said, it could be like an actual contract or some kind of project. Maybe you just finished a really intense like artistic project and now you're like, oh my God, now what? Like, what am I going to do with my life and my time now? The thing is, the Bleeding Heart is about perseverance, dedication, and hope. So this is all about like, this card is literally here cheering you on to get to the next finish line and to like, basically, even if it takes a few more attempts, you are meant to continue to persevere. But if you've been struggling with burnout, rest is part of recovery. I hope you know that. Like rest is part of recovery. And if you feel like you're struggling with burnout, it's time to like take your eyes off the canvas for a little bit. Take your eyes off the project. Take your eyes off the prize. If you're writing a book, take your eyes off the paper and just decide to live. That is actually how, like if you deal with like artist block, writer's block, anything like that, that's actually how you get better, is you have to choose to live life without it for a little bit. Because some people will tell you like, oh, brute force it, just write X amount of words per day, no matter what, da 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 da. That is not always the best approach. Sometimes that can lead to even more feelings of intense perfectionism and burnout. And I really get the sense with your cards that you do want to press on and press forward with the things that you do and create. But recently what you have been doing has taken a lot out of you. And maybe you've also been rejected in some way, and that has taken a lot out of you. It's okay if you're feeling a little burnt out. The number one thing your guides brought you into this reading to hear is that this will not last forever. You will recover from this burnout and you will find it in you to persevere. So knowing that if it was inevitable right now, that you knew you would succeed anyways, would you stop and take some time to take care of yourself? You need to give yourself some grace, bestie. So let's go ahead and keep going. I want to bring some astrology cards into this mix. So, oh, not this deck. Sorry, grabbed the wrong deck. We're going to bring the Celestial Bodies deck in here. Spirit, what else can you tell us right now about pile number 4? Just give us a little more information or possibly something or someone that could help. Let's see. Waxing gibbous. Okay, so you're closer than you think too. So waxing gibbous. I'm going to draw one more and then we'll talk about it. And square. Okay. So the kitchen's a little hot. Kitchen's a little hot right now, okay? We always say if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. But waxing gibbous, let's start with that one because it came out first. So waxing gibbous, when the moon waxes, it is moving towards a full moon. When it is in the gibbous stage, this is right before the full moon, right? The moon is like almost full. And full moons actually symbolize the climax or the completion of something. So this is why I said you maybe have recently completed something and that's left you feeling burnt out. Like that was the thing that fueled you. And it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Things will change and shift. I promise where you're at right now will not be forever. We'll get more practical advice as we go. The square card here shows me that the square in astrology, it's basically like an intense, when a planet is squaring off with another planet, it means like, think of it like square up, like it's intense. It brings about this feeling of like something feeling kind of locked together in an uncomfortable position. So squares are not always super fun. They feel a little like locked up. They're not my favorite. Let's actually pull out the book and just see. I don't know if square is in this book or the other. Oh, no, I think it is. I saw T square, but not just a square. Square. There it is. Okay. Sometimes I think the book has like nice pressure, force, action, eruption, aggression, discovery, and invention. How do you feel about the combustive powers that exist within you? How do you process anger and frustration when it bubbles up? Do you have methods to help transmute these emotions? So again, it's a lot of intensity. It's a lot of intensity. Like I said, it's square up, right? When you square up with somebody, you're getting ready to fight them. So when you square up, when we have this kind of square up energy, what do you do with that? How do you channel aggressive energy? So many people will say, oh, like I don't do anger. Anger's bad. Yeah. Unbridled anger directed at somebody, awful. Never do that. However, in my humble opinion, anger is such a beautiful thing. Hear me out. Anger is a beautiful thing because it will show you exactly what you care the most about in your life. It will show you if you're angry at how someone's treated you, that's valid. You are allowed to be angry. It shows you where you feel like somebody has misstepped on you or has hurt you or has like put you in a position that is uncomfortable. And when you get riled up and mad about something, it shows you what you value. I was just telling another pile about this. I can't remember if it was pile 2 or 3, but I was talking about how something that makes me very angry is child abuse, which like that makes everybody angry, I would hope. But like, it makes me so mad. It is the thing that if it's brought up in context around me, my ears perk up and I will fight to the death. The way that if I saw a child being abused in front of me, I would jump on somebody, I would square up. Like, it's something I feel very passionately about. I feel like our world would be a totally different place if parents learned how to emotionally regulate before they became parents, or at least did the work. Like now that we're becoming more aware, we're at least doing the work now because we don't need to be giving that to future generations. We would live on a totally different planet right now within humanity if we could understand this. And see, I'm getting mad just talking about it. I'm ready to square up. But that's what I'm saying. Like anger can be productive. It can show you where you care about things in your life. Sorry. I don't edit my coughs or anything out of my readings because I don't got time for that. And I have had, it's not COVID, but I have had whatever everybody else has where you have like this wet cough for months. It's not COVID. I have tested for that multiple times. We don't know what it is. I feel fine. I don't feel sick at all. It's something that's been going around though. But I apologize if I have to cough a few times during this reading. It's, hopefully, honestly, I probably need to go see that energy worker, have her work on my throat chakra a little bit. But in any case, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there is like, you're mad at yourself for feeling burnt out. You're mad at yourself for feeling like you don't have enough gratitude for the opportunities that have come to you. You're mad at yourself for like, it's almost like you got to the completion of something and now you're mad that there is a resting period. So let's keep going. Let's pull out, we're going to use this deck and just see, Spirit, what can we do? We're feeling frustration, anger, some burnout. Things have been a little tough. We just give us some guidance, some practical guidance on where we can go from here. What is What is going to be the most helpful thing? All right. We have judgments. Pile number 3 had judgment in it as well, which doesn't mean the readings are the same. But if you felt called to pile 3, I would say check that out just in case. But judgments, this to me has shown up today as the inner critic. It has shown up as a critic, as judgment, as being judgmental, or as judging yourself. It's like you finish something and now you're sitting and like degrading all of your work. You're saying like, it's not that good. I'm not that good. It's that imposter syndrome that's showing up for you. And it's ripping you to shreds. 5 of Wands. Ooh, there's this girl. I call everybody girl, everybody queen. I'm not trying to gender you. Girl. What is going on? Who are we squaring up with? Hold on. We're going to keep going with this, but I need to know. Spirit, who are we squaring up with? What is going on? Is there a person involved with this? Can you please provide to me that information? What is this anger about? There is so much anger. 5 of Wands is an angry card. Okay. You need to downsize. You manifested a lot of cool stuff, like a lot of cool stuff, because I see the Magician here. I don't think that this is another person. It could be though. I'm actually not sure. Surprisingly, I feel like I always know the answer, but surprisingly, I actually don't know what astrological figure the Magician is connected to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But could be a person in terms of like, to me, the Magician is somebody that maybe it seems like everything kind of comes to them easily and you're annoyed by that. You've had to work harder for things and that's frustrating. But the Magician could also be that you manifested a bunch of opportunities, because the 7 of Pentacles is having like to tend to your garden and decide what you want to keep doing, decide what you want to get rid of. But the 7 of Cups, that is a little bit of a chaotic card. The 7 of Cups is having a lot of opportunity presented to you and having to make a choice on what you're going to do with it. And that can be like a really exciting card in the sense that like, wow, I have so many opportunities. Which path will I choose? But it can also be really annoying if you just want to pick something and move forward. So I could see like the 7s to me, they're not like the worst in tarot, but they are points of like needing to reanalyze. So that's really where you're being dragged into right now, is like having to analyze the choices that you've made, where you plan to go next. And I think that it's very frustrating because for a while you have had the illusion of a surety. You have had the illusion of being sure about your path, about your next thing, about what you're going to do now. And right now you're staring in the face of a lot of uncertainty about your future. And that's very scary. And it's making you mad. You're frustrated. So I really don't think you're mad at a person. I think you're mad because you just want the universe to dump answers onto you. You're frustrated that you're having to sit with uncomfortable feelings, with uncomfortable emotions, and you're having to sit in the unknown. It's annoying. Like, okay, I'll be the first person to tell you that ish is really annoying. So let's keep going. We also have the 5 of Swords. What in the actual pile for? The 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords is like, it's victimhood. It's feeling like a victim and letting yourself stay there. And don't get me wrong, I'll be the first to tell you as well that you cannot be the hero of your life until you have been the victim. That is the truth. You have to feel personally victimized by life in order to come out and decide that you're the hero, that you're going to take care of yourself, that you've got your best interests at heart. So don't take this as like I'm criticizing or chastising you for being the victim, because it has its place and its purpose. However, staying in victim mentality is a choice. And let me explain this to you a little bit, because I feel like, though I don't feel like this is my pile, like that was definitely pile 3. This is not my pile personally. I feel like I have some wisdom I could give to you with this. Recently, I have been down bad crying at the gym, okay? That's Taylor Swift. I have been down bad mentally. That's why you haven't seen as many videos get published here. I've just been really prioritizing myself and my emotional needs. And I'm so grateful that I'm in a position where I can do that. But here's the thing. When you sit in victimhood, as I have been, crying over everything that's not working, crying over how life has dealt you the shitty hand and why did this have to happen to you and why are you burnt out and why can't you keep going? Everybody else seems to have it together. Why don't you? Etc., etc., etc. It's still a choice. You're making a choice and you may never have those answers. You may never have those answers. You may never understand why you've been dealt the hand that you've been dealt. You may never come to understand why the burnout is creeping in. You may never come to understand why you're so angry or upset or flustered, or why that certain art project didn't work out, or why this contract had to end, or why you may never get those answers. And I'm sorry to be the person that is telling you this. The best that you can do is stop the cycle and decide that you're going to be an active participant in your life. Now, this doesn't mean don't take your time. Stay in that bed, process those emotions, process those feelings. You take all the time in the world that you need. Like, if I could just be so real with y'all for a moment, I don't share a lot of this stuff online. I take it to like my inner circle of people or to a professional. But like yesterday, I was in my kitchen trying to cook dinner and I just started crying, just like a random outburst because I wasn't enjoying it. And I'm a Taurus, okay? I'm a foodie by nature. I have loved to cook since the moment I learned how to make ramen on the stove. And so to feel so down on life that I couldn't even enjoy the simple act of cooking, that was a depressing thought to me. And my sweet, loving, kind, supportive spouse walks up into the kitchen and he's like, "Why are you crying, baby?" And I was like, "I just don't enjoy cooking and I feel like I'm a mess. This is like one of my hobbies and I'm not enjoying it. This sucks." And he was like, "Kloee, you don't have to enjoy cooking 365 days a year. That's okay. You can have several months where you hate cooking. It'll come back. There will be a spark. There will be a recipe that will hit you and you're going to want to make it. I promise. It is who you are." And maybe your cooking arc has ended. Like maybe you need to get invested in a new hobby. Maybe the cooking arc has ended. It's okay. But like the thing is, I could have sat there by myself. I could have kept crying, kept insisting that my life is now broken and ruined because this one hobby that I typically love is not giving me the cope that I'm desperately craving, or I can accept it for what it is and decide to pick up a different hobby. I can decide to go back to bed and read a book. I like reading. That's a great hobby. I can pick up my Lego sets. I can pick up my watercolors. I can, there are so many other hobbies. I can hate cooking right now, and that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to mean something greater about your life is what I'm trying to say. Is where you are right now, the victimhood stance that you're taking, I promise you your entire life is not going to amount to this moment. Let's keep going. Justice. Oh my gosh. Justice and judgment in the same reading. Woo. So justice to me is all about regaining your balance and regaining your footing. But I'm going to pull another card here. King of Pentacles. Now, I don't do legal readings. Most tarot card readers will not. Just to keep ourselves safe. But I will say that the Justice card does tend to, if you're in a legal battle, especially coming out in the upright position with the King of Pentacles, it typically does show a favorable outcome with you receiving money. So I'm just going to put that out there for anybody that is in that right now. This is not me trying to be legal counsel, but that is something that is very like a common finding with that. So that could also be what you're down about in life right now. It could be that you're going through like a divorce or some kind of settlement, or there's something that's really got you feeling like the victim to life. And I promise you, this entire thing is not what your life is going to be built on. You will move on from this. You will have victory over this and you will move on. Now, if that's not your thing, this is about rebalancing and regaining financial stability and financial awareness. So I would say coming from victimhood and into yourself with this, like a transition from here to here, you have to ask yourself, what would give you the most balance? What would make you feel balanced again? And I would actually encourage, believe it or not, shameless self-promo. I have a course called Authentically Aligned, and it is currently $167 off if you use code ECLIPSE2024. I'm leaving it on sale for Taurus season because that's my birthday season, but you can still use that same code. Excuse me. And I'll put it in the description box down below to get it for $55. If you feel like you need to evaluate where your life is right now, even in the first section of that course, it gives you all the tools to do it. So I would encourage you to do that, to pick up that course if you feel like you need that. I literally designed it for that purpose, to help people and I do this myself. Whenever I feel like I'm struggling, I open up my own course and take my own class with my own workbooks. It's like 4 weeks with a bunch of videos and some workbooks, and it's very well plotted out, very well done. I literally love it so much. I take my own course. I will toot my own horn on this because I know that it's good, and I know that I did a good job because I myself use it as a tool and it helps. But if you feel like you're lacking balance, it's going to show you right where the imbalance is. So if you don't want to do that, if that's not why you're here today, I also respect that. For those of you that are looking for that tool, I thought I should mention it. If you're looking to create more balance though, you need to sit and evaluate that. Ask yourself where you could create more balance in your life right now. What feels like it's out of whack? Is it your finances? Is it your relationships? Is it your day-to-day routines? Is it your self-care? Is it, think about the things that are important to you and weigh this out. Pull out a piece of paper, draw it out. Because I do feel that when you get a little bit more of a footing on your life and start to dedicate more to yourself and to your well-being, that's when things are going to start to really shift. Okay, we also have the Hermit, so you need to take some time out anyways, and the King of Wands. King of Wands has come out 3 times today. So the Hermit, you need to take some time to yourself, period. Take some time away, take some time to be like in your inner cocoon. It's also okay. I tell you all this all the time, and I'm going to repeat it for another time in case you need to hear it again. When a caterpillar goes into its cocoon, did you know that it becomes literal goo? Before it becomes a butterfly, it becomes goo. That is the truth. And sometimes you are just the goo. Okay. You can't do anything. All you can do is wait until you become. And yes, like I said, there are tools, there are ways of getting yourself there to get into that butterfly stage. But sometimes you need to just hermit it up and let yourself be goo. I think I said this to pile number 2 or 3, that there was a day this past week that I literally just from the time I woke up, I felt sad. And I was like, I'm just going to let myself cry as much as I want to today. And I think I cried from sun up to sundown. And in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of sunlight right now. Like our sun doesn't set until almost 9 p.m. at this point in the year. And I cried all day. I was exhausted. I needed electrolytes. My husband brought me Gatorade because he's a nice man. But my point is, sometimes you need to just like hermit up and let yourself feel and go through what you're going through. It's not forever. It's not going to be forever. You're not going to get stuck there. In order for you to get out of the goo stage, you have to let yourself become the goo. You have to let yourself come undone a little bit, right? And then the butterfly period will come. King of Wands. This card is all about your passion, your perseverance, your leadership quality. I get a lot of leaders. Oh, I don't know why this isn't focusing. I get a lot of leaders on my readings. Some of y'all hate that. Every time I say it, you're like, God, please stop calling me a leader, but you are. You're just still discovering it. But King of Wands, this is about you standing firm in your creative energy again. So it's coming. That's like your guides led you here to let you know that, again, the burnout phase, not going to last forever. You're going to make it through this and you will get back into that creative flow again. It's just going to take some time. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and look at this cosmic guidance deck and just see a few more words of wisdom. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, there's our cards. I just like threw that on accident. Okay. So we have action, awaken the warrior woman within. So with awaken the warrior woman within, you know, whether you're a man, woman, all betwixt and in between, does not matter. The point is, eventually you're going to feel called to take action. And so the reason that you need to hermit it up and let yourself process is so that you're ready. When it's time to take action, you will be ready to take it because you will feel like you have rested appropriately. Then we have fire, transformation, rebirth, and renewal. We've been talking about that with this butterfly analogy this whole time. So Spirit is saying, don't be afraid to let yourself transform through the fire. Don't be afraid to burn it all down. Don't be afraid of yourself, of the way that you feel. A feeling is never going to hurt you. A feeling is never going to hurt you. And if anything, when you let those things out, you feel better. I feel like a lot of the readings have been more focused around that today, not in the same way. Every reading has been different, but there's been a lot about like processing turmoil, I feel like. And then we also have joy. Your inner child is here to play. So I think it was pile number 1 that we talked about this a little bit. So if you felt called to pile 1, maybe give it a listen. But connecting back with what you loved as a child is a great thing to participate in. It's something that it doesn't mean that you're going to be doing, you know, I was telling everyone that I was a gutter goblin as a kid. I loved to play in the gutter when I was little. I loved to like be outside. I'd make little leaf boats and like put my hands in the gutter and then like put my hands on the concrete and make handprints. Like, I don't know who let me do that because it's like literally the sewer water, but that's on an abusive household. Okay. That's on nobody was really watching me anyways, but I was a little gutter goblin. And does that mean in my adult life, I'm going to go play in the gutter? No, but can I play in the ocean? Can I play in the river? Can I play in a swimming pool? Yes. In fact, recently I just got back into water aerobics. It's been so good for me. I'm a gutter goblin. What can I say? I used to write fan fiction in my adolescent years. And though I have not gotten back into creative writing, I don't think I would pick up fan fiction. I would pick up creative writing again. And I've considered like taking a class on creative writing again because it's something that I used to do with such passion. But I've also picked up reading fiction again. And that's been such a good thing in my adult life, right? I'm not writing Days of Our Lives fan fiction anymore, but I've transitioned that into my adult life. So look at the things that you did as a child that brought you true, sheer joy and ask yourself how you can bring that into your life today, because that's something else that is missing from your creative process right now. And that is what I have for you. Pile number 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out my course if you feel like you need it. Link and coupon down below for that. Of course, like I said, it's $167 off for my birthday season, which is Taurus season. And you use a code Eclipse 2024. Even though eclipse season is over, we're just keeping that same coupon code. So definitely check that out. If you want more from me, more pick-a-cards, astrology reports, themes for the month, vlogs, masterclasses, please consider checking out my Patreon. It's a great place where you can get extra content from me. I'm actually going to put a poll out right after I make this video to ask Patreon what kinds of readings they want next, both on the channel and on Patreon for the exclusive readings that you can't get anywhere else. So check that out. Link for that down below. And I also have my Instagram. I'm at Kloee Taylor if you would like to follow me. My Instagram is a mess. I definitely do not keep my Instagram cohesive at all. Like, I used to try to like make it all tarot content, but like I've been reviewing fiction books on there in my stories. I made a decorate my Kindle with me recently. I'm going to be bringing a couple of witchcraft shorts or reels or what have you into it soon. So I've just been like letting my Instagram be a place of self-expression, also my fitness journey. So if you want like any of that, make sure you're following my Instagram. I also have the Cozy Babes Club Instagram, which I might put my fitness journey over there. I don't know. Recently, I've been really into like getting like cut. Like I have been like really on top of my grind right now. So Anyways, if you stayed and listened to me ramble this entire thing at you right now, you're amazing. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Please drop the butterfly emoji down below for me to let me know that you're a real one and that you stayed for this entire rant / tell all, because I feel like I just gave so much information to your face right now. Anyways, I love you. Thank you so much for holding me with grace and gratitude. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.